Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're talking about something deeply personal, often misunderstood, and critically important: the difference between feeling sad and being clinically depressed after the age of 60. This isn't just a conversation for seniors, it's a conversation for their families, caregivers, and friends. Why? Because mental health doesn't retire when we do. Let's begin with a simple but essential truth: it is normal to feel sad sometimes. Sadness is a human emotion. It may come after a loss, a life change, a medical diagnosis, or even during periods of deep reflection. But depression is more than sadness. It's a medical condition, a mental health disorder. And it can happen to anyone, even those who've led joyful, successful lives. After 60, the risk factors for depression increase. Why? There are several reasons: physical health problems, loss of independence, bereavement, social isolation, retirement, or even relocation. Yet many seniors and even their doctors often dismiss depression as just old age, or a normal part of getting older. That is not only incorrect, but it's also dangerous. So how do you tell the difference between sadness and depression in your 60s and beyond? Let's break it down. Sadness is usually temporary. It has a cause. You may feel sad after the death of a spouse, after children move away, or during difficult anniversaries. But over time, that sadness fades, especially when you're supported by loved ones or engaging in enjoyable activities. Depression, on the other hand, persists. It doesn't just go away with time, it lingers, and often gets worse if left untreated. One of the most telling signs of depression is a persistent low mood that lasts for 2 weeks or longer. It's not just about feeling blue, it's about waking up with no energy, no hope, no interest in the things that once brought you joy. A person with depression might stop taking care of themselves. They may neglect hygiene, skip meals, or lose interest in activities they once loved: gardening, playing with grandchildren, reading, or attending community events. Another red flag is a noticeable change in sleep or appetite. Seniors with depression may have trouble sleeping or sleep too much. They may lose weight unintentionally, or sometimes overeat in response to emotional distress. Fatigue is also common, and not just the kind of tiredness you feel after a busy day, but a heavy, soul-deep exhaustion that doesn't go away with rest. Let's talk about cognitive symptoms, because they are often mistaken for aging or early dementia. Depression in older adults can lead to memory problems, difficulty concentrating, or slow thinking. That's why it's sometimes called pseudo-dementia. But unlike dementia, these symptoms may improve with depression treatment. Some seniors also experience physical pain, aches, headaches, or stomach issues with no clear medical explanation. Depression can manifest in the body as much as it does in the mind. So if a doctor finds no physical cause for a symptom, mental health should be part of the discussion. One of the most serious signs of depression, especially in the elderly, is withdrawal from social interaction. If you notice someone becoming increasingly isolated, refusing phone calls, avoiding visits, or spending long days alone, it's a strong indicator that something deeper may be happening. Now you might ask, what causes depression in older adults? The causes can vary. Loss plays a major role. Losing a spouse, friends, a job, a home, or even physical abilities can deeply affect emotional well-being. Chronic illnesses such as arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke often come with emotional burdens. Medications can also be a hidden culprit. Some prescriptions have side effects that contribute to depressive symptoms. And then there's retirement. We often look forward to it as a time of rest and reward, but it also represents a loss of purpose for many. That identity, built around careers, routines, and responsibilities, suddenly disappears, and without new meaning, depression can settle in. But there's good news. Depression is treatable at any age, and you don't have to go through it alone. But treatment begins with recognition. So how can you take action? First, talk to someone, whether it's a doctor, therapist, family member, or friend. Starting the conversation is the first brave step. Too often, older adults don't speak up because they don't want to burden others. But mental health is not a burden, it's a part of total health. Second, rule out medical causes. A thorough checkup can reveal whether your symptoms are connected to medications, hormone changes, or other conditions. Once those are addressed, the emotional side can be more clearly seen. Third, consider therapy. Talk therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has been proven effective for seniors. It helps people reframe negative thoughts, build coping skills, and reconnect with joy. If therapy sounds unfamiliar or uncomfortable, know that modern therapy is flexible, confidential, and often available in person, by phone, or online. Fourth, lifestyle changes matter. Regular light exercise, like walking, yoga, or swimming, can release endorphins and elevate mood. Nutrition also plays a huge role. Omega-3 fatty acids, leafy greens, and whole grains support brain health. Even small changes can add up. Fifth, stay connected. Human connection is one of the strongest protectors against depression. Join community centers, volunteer groups, or hobby clubs. Technology can also help bridge the gap. Video calls, online communities, or virtual classes can keep you engaged and growing. Medication may also be part of treatment, especially for those with moderate to severe symptoms. Antidepressants can help restore chemical imbalances, but they must be managed carefully in older adults, due to possible interactions with other drugs. This is why working with a healthcare provider who understands geriatric care is crucial. Let's not forget spiritual well-being. Whether through religion, mindfulness, nature, or creative expression, many people over 60 find strength in connecting with something greater than themselves. It brings peace, resilience, and hope. Now, if you're watching this and you're wondering if what you're feeling is just a phase or something more serious, please don't wait. Your feelings are valid. Your well-being matters, and depression is not a sign of weakness, it's a health condition that deserves treatment. For families and caregivers, it's vital to listen without judgment. Don't rush to cheer up your loved one or minimize their emotions. Instead, offer patience, compassion, and presence. Sometimes the most powerful words are, "I'm here for you and you don't have to go through this alone." To summarize, sadness is natural, depression is not. Sadness usually passes, depression persists. Sadness doesn't require treatment, depression often does. The difference is time, intensity, and impact on your daily life. There is no age limit to mental health care, no age cap on joy, no expiration date on self-love. If you're over 60 and you're feeling low, don't brush it off. Get curious, get support, get better. You deserve a life filled with peace, connection, and purpose. Thank you for listening, and remember, reaching out isn't a weakness, it's strength. You are not alone. Sadness is temporary, and often linked to specific events. Depression is persistent, affecting mood, behavior, and physical health over time. This simple yet powerful statement forms the core of understanding emotional well-being, especially for those in their 60s and beyond. As we age, our lives naturally include transitions, retirement, changes in physical ability, children moving away, and the loss of close friends or a spouse. These events can trigger moments of deep sadness or grief. However, when that sadness lingers beyond a reasonable period and begins to interfere with daily life, it may no longer be just sadness, it could be depression. Many seniors dismiss their emotional struggles as just getting old, believing it's normal to feel low. But aging does not have to mean losing your sense of purpose, happiness, or emotional stability. Sadness in its natural form is a reaction to life's challenges. You might feel down after losing a pet, remembering a difficult anniversary, or experiencing physical discomfort. In these cases, sadness fades with time, supportive relationships, or distractions that help lift your spirits. You may cry, feel reflective, or seek solitude, but your sense of self returns. Depression, on the other hand, is a clinical condition that doesn't pass so easily. It sticks around. It's not tied to one event, but becomes part of daily life, casting a heavy shadow over every activity, relationship, and thought. If you find yourself waking up each day feeling hopeless, disinterested, empty, or fatigued for weeks or even months, those are signs that something deeper is occurring. What makes depression more dangerous in people over 60 is how often it is overlooked or misdiagnosed. Older adults are less likely to report emotional distress, often thinking they should tough it out. Even family members may miss the signs, assuming changes in behavior or personality are part of aging. But depression is not a natural part of getting older. It's an illness that affects the brain, body, and spirit. It can cause weight changes, disturbed sleep, low energy, reduced motivation, poor concentration, and even unexplained physical pain. Many seniors report backaches, headaches, or digestive problems with no clear medical cause, only to later learn these were manifestations of depression. Another complicating factor is the overlap of depression symptoms with other age-related issues. Memory problems, slowed speech, or lack of concentration can look like early dementia, but when those symptoms are caused by depression, they often improve with the right treatment. This condition, sometimes called pseudo-dementia, is reversible. That's why proper evaluation by a healthcare professional who understands geriatric mental health is essential. If you or a loved one are experiencing cognitive issues alongside mood changes, don't assume it's just aging. Explore every possibility. Depression also often leads to social withdrawal. Seniors may stop attending gatherings, answering phone calls, or participating in hobbies they once loved. This isolation not only worsens depression, but it's a breeding ground for loneliness, which itself is a strong risk factor for mental health decline. It's a cycle that must be broken with intention and support. Staying connected to people, even through small interactions, can create emotional stability. Being around friends, joining local groups, or even engaging in conversations at the grocery store can make a difference. Understanding what causes depression in older adults helps us know how to prevent and treat it. Physical health problems, including chronic pain, arthritis, diabetes, or heart disease, increase the likelihood of depression. Certain medications also have side effects that affect mood. Hormonal changes, especially during postmenopausal years or andropause, can alter brain chemistry. Then there's the emotional impact of retirement. Many people look forward to it, only to find themselves feeling lost once the daily structure, social interaction, and sense of purpose disappear. Without new roles or goals to fill that gap, a sense of emptiness can set in. That emotional vacuum is fertile ground for depression. So how do we treat depression after 60? First, recognize it. Acknowledge that persistent sadness, lack of energy, or emotional numbness is not just a phase. If these feelings last more than 2 weeks and interfere with daily life, seek professional help. Depression is treatable, even at psychotherapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has been shown to be highly effective in helping seniors understand and reframe negative thinking. For some, medication is appropriate, but always under the care of a physician who understands older adult needs, since seniors often take multiple prescriptions and must avoid harmful interactions. In addition to medical treatment, lifestyle changes are powerful tools. Exercise, even gentle movement like walking or Tai Chi, boosts mood by releasing endorphins. Nutrition also supports mental health. Leafy greens, healthy fats, lean proteins, and adequate hydration all feed the brain. Good sleep hygiene, regular social interaction, and hobbies that bring meaning, like gardening, music, art, or volunteering, build emotional resilience. Mindfulness practices and spiritual exploration can bring peace and a renewed sense of identity. Lastly, communication is vital. Older adults often feel like a burden and keep their struggles private, but reaching out is a sign of strength. Talk to a doctor, call a friend, join a group. The journey toward healing begins with one honest conversation, and for family members and caregivers, listen. Don't rush to fix. Validate feelings, offer time, and encourage action. Depression in older adults is not inevitable. With the right attention, it can be identified, addressed, and treated, allowing seniors to live fulfilling and joyful lives. Aging may change our bodies, but it doesn't have to steal our spirit. After 60, depression is commonly underdiagnosed due to stigma, misinterpretation of symptoms, and age-related stereotypes. This troubling reality means that countless older adults silently suffer from a condition that is both treatable and manageable, yet often mistaken for something else entirely. In many cases, the symptoms of depression in seniors are dismissed as natural consequences of aging. A lack of energy is chalked up to getting older. Sleep problems are blamed on aging hormones. Forgetfulness and confusion may be attributed to early dementia. Emotional withdrawal is often seen as a normal response to retirement or the loss of a spouse. But these assumptions can be dangerous. They create a wall of misunderstanding that prevents people from getting the help they truly need. Stigma plays a large role in this underdiagnosis. Many people over 60 grew up in a time when mental health wasn't discussed openly. Seeking therapy or expressing emotional vulnerability was seen as weakness or failure. As a result, many seniors still hold on to the belief that they must endure emotional pain silently, as though talking about it would burden others or expose them to judgment. This internalized stigma makes it less likely for older adults to speak up about how they're feeling, even when the symptoms of depression are taking a toll on their quality of life. Instead of expressing sadness, many seniors describe vague physical complaints like fatigue, headaches, or stomach pain, because they feel more comfortable discussing physical problems than emotional ones. Adding to the confusion, depression in older adults often looks different than it does in younger people. Instead of expressing feelings of guilt or hopelessness, they may appear more irritable or withdrawn. They may stop doing the things they love, avoid social interaction, or lose interest in personal hygiene. But because these behaviors develop gradually, even close family members may not realize how serious the situation is. Caregivers might assume that the person is just slowing down due to age, when in fact they are becoming increasingly consumed by untreated depression. Another key reason depression is underdiagnosed in older adults is that doctors may not always ask the right question. In busy clinics or during appointments focused on managing physical ailments like diabetes, heart disease, or arthritis, emotional health can be overlooked. Unless the patient openly talks about their feelings, depression may not be detected. And because depression can mimic or worsen physical conditions, it creates a cycle where untreated emotional pain leads to worsening physical health, which then deepens the depression. It's a cycle that's not only damaging, but also preventable if mental health is prioritized as part of overall healthcare. The problem is further complicated by the fact that depression in older adults is often linked to multiple life changes that happen at once. Retirement can leave someone feeling purposeless. Losing a spouse can create a deep void that changes every part of daily life. Children moving away, friends passing on, and increasing health issues can all pile up emotionally. These events are indeed difficult, and it's normal to grieve or feel sad. But when the sadness doesn't fade, when it becomes chronic, and when it affects sleep, appetite, memory, or joy, then we're no longer dealing with normal sadness. That's depression, and it needs attention. There's also the challenge of emotional suppression. Many older adults believe they should just be grateful for what they have, even if they feel miserable inside. They don't want to seem ungrateful or dramatic, so they suffer in silence, sometimes for years, believing that this emotional numbness is simply part of getting old. But mental health doesn't have an expiration date. You are never too old to feel better. You are never too old to ask for help. And you are certainly never too old to deserve happiness. It's important to challenge the stereotypes that hold people back. Aging does not automatically mean becoming depressed, lonely, or disengaged from life. In fact, many people find that their 60s, 70s, and beyond can be deeply rewarding, filled with meaningful relationships, personal growth, and new adventures. But this can only happen when mental health is supported as strongly as physical health. Doctors, caregivers, and families need to be trained to recognize the signs of depression in older adults and to take them seriously. If a senior is sleeping too much or too little, eating significantly less or more, losing interest in social activities, or showing signs of irritability, fatigue, or forgetfulness, it's not enough to assume it's just aging. These could be signs of depression that, if left untreated, can lead to serious consequences, including a decline in health and even suicidal thoughts. The good news is that depression is treatable at any age. Therapies, like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help seniors recognize and reshape negative thoughts. Medication, when used appropriately, can also provide relief. Group therapy, community engagement, spiritual practices, exercise, nutrition, and creative outlets all contribute to healing. But none of these can begin without awareness, and that awareness starts with challenging the myths, confronting the stigma, and listening to the emotional needs of older adults with empathy, curiosity, and respect. Underdiagnosed depression in people over 60 is not just a medical oversight, it is a preventable crisis that requires education, compassion, and action. When we begin to recognize that mental health is just as important in later life as it is in youth, we open the door to a brighter, more emotionally fulfilling future for ourselves and for the people we love. Warning signs of depression in people over 60 can be subtle and are often mistaken for normal parts of aging. But recognizing them early can make a life-changing difference. One of the most common and telling symptoms is a loss of interest in activities that once brought joy. A person may suddenly stop attending their favorite club, stop gardening, no longer want to play with grandchildren, or show no interest in reading, cooking, or watching shows they used to love. This loss of interest, known as anhedonia, is more than just boredom. It signals a deeper emotional disengagement and a disruption in the brain's reward system. When someone loses interest in life's pleasures for an extended period, it's not a phase, it's a red flag. Changes in sleep patterns are another significant warning sign. Some older adults with depression experience insomnia. They find it hard to fall asleep, stay asleep, or wake up too early, without being able to return to rest. Others may experience hypersomnia, sleeping excessively, and still feeling tired. Sleep disruptions can contribute to feelings of exhaustion, irritability, and a general sense of disconnection from the world. When someone consistently complains about poor sleep or is observed sleeping too much or too little, it's essential to explore whether depression might be the underlying cause. Appetite changes often accompany sleep disturbances. Some individuals may lose interest in food entirely, leading to weight loss and nutritional deficiencies. Others may turn to food for comfort and begin overeating, especially foods high in sugar or carbohydrate. These changes are not just about food preferences, they reflect changes in mood and brain chemistry. Significant shifts in appetite, particularly when paired with weight gain or loss, should never be ignored. Fatigue and a general lack of energy are also hallmark symptoms of depression in older adults. This isn't just the type of tiredness that comes from a long day, it's a constant, heavy sense of physical and mental exhaustion that makes even the smallest tasks feel overwhelming. Someone might stop showering regularly, forget to take medications, or leave household chores undone, simply because they don't have the strength or motivation. Family and caregivers often misinterpret this as laziness or cognitive decline, but in reality, it may be rooted in emotional and psychological fatigue caused by depression. Social withdrawal is another deeply concerning sign. A senior who used to be sociable, attend community events, or regularly call family and friends, may become distant or unresponsive. They may stop returning phone calls, decline invitations, and isolate themselves. This withdrawal is not just a preference for solitude, it can be a coping mechanism for emotional pain, or a way to avoid situations that feel overwhelming or anxiety-provoking. Left unaddressed, this isolation can increase feelings of loneliness and further deepen depression. Cognitive changes are especially complex when it comes to depression in later life. Older adults with depression may experience memory lapses, trouble concentrating, and slowed thinking. These symptoms often mimic dementia, leading to misdiagnosis. This condition is sometimes referred to as pseudo-dementia, meaning it appears similar to dementia but is actually caused by depression. Unlike true dementia, however, these cognitive issues can improve or even fully reverse with effective treatment for depression. If someone starts forgetting appointments, repeating stories, or struggling to follow conversations, it's essential to consider depression as a possible cause before jumping to conclusions about Alzheimer's or other neurological disorders. Another powerful warning sign is persistent sadness or a sense of emptiness. This feeling may not always be expressed as crying or verbal distress. In fact, many older adults with depression don't appear overtly sad, they may seem flat, indifferent, or just not themselves. Some describe it as a numbness or emotional deadness, where nothing seems to stir joy or sorrow. They may say things like, "I just feel off, I don't care anymore," or "What's the point?" These statements should never be dismissed. They reveal an internal emotional struggle that requires support and understanding. Irritability is also common, especially in older men. Instead of expressing sadness, they may become short-tempered, impatient, or critical. Loved ones might notice an increase in conflicts, sarcastic remarks, or frustration over small things. This behavior is often misunderstood, but it can be an emotional shield masking deeper feelings of depression, fear, or grief. Some seniors may also express feelings of worthlessness, hopelessness, or excessive guilt. They might talk about being a burden to others or believe they are no longer useful. These beliefs can feed into suicidal thoughts, which are tragically more common among older adults than many realize. If someone talks about death frequently, makes farewell comments, gives away possessions, or withdraws even more than usual, these may be signs that they are contemplating suicide. Immediate support and professional help are essential in these situations. Physical symptoms can't be overlooked either. Depression often manifests in the body through unexplained aches and pains, headaches, digestive issues, or a general sense of discomfort. When medical tests show no clear cause for ongoing physical complaints, it's crucial to explore emotional health. The brain and body are deeply connected, and emotional pain often finds its way into the body when it's not processed or acknowledged directly. All of these signs, loss of interest, changes in sleep and appetite, fatigue, withdrawal, cognitive difficulties, irritability, guilt, and physical complaints, are your mind and body signaling that something is wrong. Depression does not look the same in every person, and in older adults it often wears a mask. That's why education and awareness are key. Recognizing these symptoms early gives people the best chance at recovery. It opens the door to therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, support systems, and most importantly, hope. No one should have to navigate depression alone, especially in the later stages of life, which should be filled with peace, connection, and meaning. Depression is treatable, at any age, through therapy, medication, lifestyle changes, and building strong social and emotional connections. This truth is especially vital for people over 60, a stage of life often marked by major transitions, physical health challenges, and emotional losses. While the symptoms of depression in older adults can be complex and often mistaken for other age-related issues, the potential for recovery and improvement remains just as strong as in younger individuals. The key is recognizing the problem and taking meaningful steps toward healing. Understanding the available treatment options and how they interact is essential to creating a personalized and effective recovery path. Therapy remains one of the most effective ways to address depression in older adults. Talk therapy, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is proven to help people identify negative thought patterns, reframe their thinking, and adopt healthier coping mechanisms. CBT works by helping individuals examine how their beliefs influence their emotions and behaviors, allowing them to replace self-defeating thoughts with more balanced, constructive ones. For many older adults, especially those who have spent decades internalizing emotional pain or avoiding vulnerability, therapy can be a life-changing experience. It offers a safe space to reflect on losses, regrets, identity shifts, and fears about aging or mortality. Beyond CBT, other therapeutic methods like interpersonal therapy, IPT, or problem-solving therapy, PST, can also be highly effective, depending on the individual's unique needs. In cases of moderate to severe depression, therapy alone may not be enough. That's where medication can play a vital role. Antidepressants, such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, are often prescribed to help regulate mood by increasing the availability of neurotransmitters in the brain. While medication isn't a cure by itself, it can significantly reduce the intensity of symptoms and make it easier for individuals to engage in therapy and daily life. However, medication in older adults must be prescribed carefully, considering the potential for side effects, drug interactions, and existing health conditions. Regular monitoring by a physician, preferably one who specializes in geriatric care, is crucial to ensure that the benefits outweigh the risks and that any negative effects are addressed promptly. Lifestyle changes are another cornerstone of effective depression treatment for older adults. These changes may seem small at first, but can lead to significant improvements in emotional well-being. Physical activity is one of the most powerful natural antidepressants available. Even gentle forms of exercise like walking, swimming, stretching, or chair yoga can boost endorphins, improve sleep, increase energy, and reduce feelings of helplessness. For those with mobility issues, movement doesn't have to be intense, it just has to be consistent. What matters most is building a routine that gets the body moving and encourages a sense of accomplishment. Nutrition also plays a key role in managing depression. A diet rich in omega-3 fatty acids, lean proteins, whole grains, and fresh vegetables can support brain health. Reducing processed sugars and unhealthy fats can decrease inflammation and promote a more stable mood. Hydration is equally important, as dehydration can affect concentration, energy levels, and cognitive function. When physical health is nurtured through good nutrition, mental health often improves alongside it. Another lifestyle element that cannot be overlooked is sleep. Many older adults struggle with sleep disorders, which can contribute to or worsen depression. Establishing a consistent sleep routine, avoiding stimulants before bed, limiting screen time, and creating a relaxing nighttime environment can help regulate the body's internal clock. In some cases, professional help may be needed to address insomnia or sleep apnea, which are common in older populations and directly linked to mood disturbances. Spiritual and creative activities can also provide a powerful antidote to depression, whether through prayer, meditation, time in nature, painting, playing music, or journaling. Engaging in activities that foster a sense of meaning and expression can rekindle joy and purpose. Many seniors find solace in spiritual communities or practices that remind them of their connection to something larger than themselves. These outlets don't require perfection or productivity. They simply offer a path to inner peace, which is especially important when navigating loss, uncertainty, or change. Perhaps the most underestimated yet powerful treatment component is social and emotional connection. Isolation is one of the leading causes of depression among older adults. After retirement, the loss of a spouse, relocation, or health problems, many seniors find themselves spending long hours alone. Human beings are inherently social, and the lack of connection can lead to emotional deterioration. Building and maintaining relationships is not just good for the heart, it's essential for the mind. Whether through phone calls, family visits, senior centers, volunteer work, or support groups, staying socially engaged helps maintain cognitive health, boost mood, and reduce the risk of depression. Technology also offers new ways for older adults to connect and participate in community. Virtual therapy sessions, online classes, hobby groups, and social media, when used wisely, can provide opportunities for interaction, learning, and entertainment. While technology may feel intimidating to some seniors, with a little support, it can become a valuable lifeline to the outside world. Another meaningful step toward healing involves goal setting and creating purpose-driven routines. Many older adults struggle with the loss of identity or meaning after retirement. Finding new ways to contribute, whether through mentoring, volunteering, caregiving, or learning, can restore a sense of value and self-worth. Even small goals, like caring for a plant, writing letters, or joining a book club, create structure and a reason to look forward to each day. Ultimately, the most effective approach to treating depression in people over 60 is a combination of strategies tailored to the individual. No single solution fits everyone, and often the best results come from blending therapy, medication, physical wellness, social connection, and purposeful living. What matters most is starting the journey. Depression does not have to define your later years. With the right support, it is absolutely possible to heal, to grow, and to reclaim joy. Speaking up and seeking help is the most courageous and important step toward healing. Mental health matters, even more so in later life. For many people over the age of 60, the idea of asking for help, especially when it comes to emotions and mental well-being, can feel foreign or even frightening. Throughout their lives, they may have been taught to tough it out, to hide their pain, to be self-reliant. Generations past didn't always have the language or resources to talk about mental health openly. Depression, anxiety, grief, and emotional burnout were often swept under the rug, seen as private burdens to carry alone. But times have changed, and thankfully, so has our understanding of mental health. We now know that emotional pain is just as real and important as physical pain, and we now have the tools to help manage it effectively, regardless of age. Still, the first step remains the hardest: speaking up. This is not just about telling a doctor or therapist that you're struggling. It's about breaking years of silence, about acknowledging that something doesn't feel right inside. It's about admitting vulnerability, which can be deeply uncomfortable, especially for those who have spent decades being the rock for others: parents, partners, professionals, caregivers. But here's the truth: there is nothing weak about admitting you need help. In fact, it takes immense strength to look inward, to confront your pain, and to decide that you deserve something better. It takes courage to break the silence and say, "I'm not okay," and even more courage to trust that someone will listen and help. When older adults speak up about their mental health, they begin to challenge the harmful belief that sadness, loneliness, or hopelessness are just natural parts of aging. They also give themselves a chance at healing, connection, and rediscovery. Depression is not a punishment for growing older, and it is not something you just have to accept. Your emotional health is just as valuable in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond as it was in your younger years. If anything, The emotional landscape of later life is even more deserving of attention because it is often filled with transitions, losses, changes, reflections that stir deep feelings. These emotions deserve acknowledgement and care, not suppression or shame. Seeking help might look different for each person. It may begin with a conversation with a trusted friend or family member. It might involve talking to a doctor about persistent low mood, anxiety, or feelings of emptiness. It may lead to therapy, support groups, medication, or a lifestyle change. Sometimes it's as simple as reaching out and asking, "Is this normal?" or "Can you help me understand what I'm feeling?" These small but significant questions open doors to healing, connection, understanding, and transformation. For family members and caregivers, creating a space where older adults feel safe to open up is just as important. Many seniors don't speak up because they don't want to be a burden or fear being misunderstood. That's why listening without judgment, showing empathy, and encouraging dialogue are crucial. Avoid minimizing their feelings by saying things like, "You have nothing to be sad about," or "You should be grateful." While well-meaning, these responses can shut people down. Instead, say, "I'm here for you," or "I want to understand how you're feeling." Validate their experience. Let them know that their emotional health matters, and that they are not alone. Speaking up also has ripple effects beyond the individual. When one person over 60 shares their story or seeks help, it gives permission for others to do the same. It reduces stigma in communities, families, and social circles. It encourages honest conversations about what it means to age well, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. There's a kind of wisdom and strength that comes with acknowledging our mental health needs, and older adults can be powerful role models in demonstrating that it's never too late to choose healing. Healing doesn't mean erasing all sadness or pain. It means learning how to live well with our emotions, to navigate them with grace, support, and resilience. It means reconnecting with purpose, finding meaning, building joy, and rediscovering ourselves in the process. Life after 60 can be a time of renewal and growth, not just survival. But that possibility begins the moment someone decides to speak up and ask for the help they deserve. There are resources now that didn't exist decades ago: trained geriatric therapists, mental health hotlines, senior community centers, online counseling, faith-based programs, and support networks specifically for older adults. These resources are not just for crisis, they're for anyone looking to improve their quality of life. Accessing these services is not admitting defeat, it's taking control. It's deciding that your mental well-being is just as important as managing your blood pressure or arthritis. And to those who are struggling silently, please remember that you are not alone. What you feel is real, and it matters. You are still worthy of joy, of connection, of peace. You are still growing, still evolving, still capable of change. Speaking up is the first and most powerful step in that journey. There is life after depression. There is life after loss. There is a version of your future filled with meaning, love, and contentment. And it all begins with the decision to say something, to reach out, and to believe that healing is possible. No matter how long you've been silent, it's never too late to start speaking up.